table where we laughed and talked all day. So long ago, love was offered. The joy of being together made you want to stay. Take me back.
Well, hey y'all, welcome back to Life with Nana. I'm Nana and I'm so glad you're here today. So today we are making red pepper jelly and watermelon rind pickles. And I will tell you all about the watermelon rind pickles when we get to that. The first thing though that I wanted to show you guys is what Papa and I had for lunch today. We made these meals in jars back several months ago, I guess now, and there's a video on it. But you take hamburger meat or whatever kind of meat that you like, and you brown that up. And once you get it brown, you add 4 cups of, like we did, beef stock, but you could just use water, and the contents of this jar, and you let that cook for about 15 minutes. And then you add 2 cups of cheese. We added a little splash of cream just to give it a little more creaminess. But yeah, this is so quick and so easy. I really hope you'll go back and watch that video and you'll give this a try. I was putting it away and I wanted to tell you guys how wonderful it really is. So good. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is get some peppers chopped up. And as you see, I bought peppers because, well, the last video, we used up most of the peppers that were out there. So the first thing that you're going to want to do, this calls for 3 cups finely chopped red bell pepper. So that's the first thing we're going to do. 3 cups. And this is a 4-cup measurer. And I'm going to get my pot over here too, so that I can pour this off as I need to. So I'm hoping we'll get 2 cups out of these 3. So we're going to really take advantage of every piece of this pepper. And I'm just going to chop these. Now you could do this probably with a food processor, but today, I don't know, I feel like just chopping them up by hand. Because I do want this to show in the jelly when I get it done. And I do want to have some pieces that will be, you know, good. This is good if you will take a block of cream cheese and let it come to room temperature. And then you just pour this, and since this is going to be water bathed, it'll be at room temperature anyway. And you pour that over it, and you serve it with crackers. And it's a little spicy. You can make it a lot spicy if you want to. It's whatever you want to do. I'm going to put a few jalapenos in there. And I'm just going to run my knife back through these. We want these to be smaller pieces. If you'll cut from the outside in, you'll make sure that you go all the way through your pepper. If you cut it the other way, sometimes you don't go all the way through. And sometimes I forget that, but it is really good if you can do it that way. So this week and last week has been a lot of preserving things that are just left from the garden. This is just one I wanted to do, and I was hoping I would have the peppers, you know, to do it with, but I didn't, so that's okay. You can totally buy things from the grocery store and turn them into what you want. or at a farm stand or something like that. Papa and I were out and about this morning and stopped at a couple of yard sales, and we didn't find much. I did find this though. I really like that. Cuisinart, little thing to sit in your sink. Real nice. And if I don't have enough red pepper, y'all, I'm just going to use green. We'll have green and red, and it'll be very festive, and it'll be really nice towards Christmas. I don't know that it'll last that long, but I'll try to put a jar or two back. So anyway, we rode around looking for yard sales. We only found 3. And I'm really trying hard not to buy stuff unless I absolutely think it's something I'll use and I'll need. Now this recipe calls for a pack and a half of pectin. I'm going to be using Sure Gel. I'm not sure why it's calling for that half, but that's what it says, so that's what I'm going to do. Looks like we're fixing to get a cool down. I saw something on YouTube that said that we were going to be cooling down. I sure hope so. I'm tired of 90 and above days. I normally love summertime. I do love summertime. But I am definitely a person who likes all 4 seasons. I like it when it changes, but by the time it's over, I'm ready for it to be over. I think it'd be hard for me to live somewhere where the climate was just what it is, you know. But I really do like it when the leaves change colors and there's a chance of snow, because we hardly ever get snow here where we live. And, you know, you get that one snow every 2 or 3 years, and everybody's so excited. I know a lot of you live where it's either very hot a lot of the time or it's very cold a lot of the time. I love it in the fall when the leaves start changing colors. We just go right in the mountains, and not every year here where we live are they beautiful, different colors and all that. We get that about half the time probably. And I can't imagine living like, we visit the Smoky Mountains, and how it's just so beautiful up there in the fall. I'd love to live up there actually. One of my favorite places is Cades Cove. I love to go to Cades Cove. All right, so that's 3 cups. That's very, very nice. All right. And then it calls for 1 finely chopped green bell pepper, which is what I have here. It's calling for 1/4 of a cup. I have 5 small ones. I'm going to chop those up and put those in here. And then I have some dried cayenne pepper. And I might take 1 of those and put in here as well. That's going to make it pretty hot probably. We have been so much in preservation mode that I haven't been making bread and doing that sort of thing a lot, and I really want to get back into that. Now, I don't want the seeds. I just want the pepper. So, boy, that one was full of seeds. I do want these chopped fairly fine. Alright, that looks like quite a bit, doesn't it? And I just bought a basket of these at the farmer's market, and I strung them with just some regular old thread, and they're hanging up over there, and they've been drying, so they're not completely dry. Alright, let me wash my hands. This says 3 cups of finely chopped bell pepper, 1 cup of finely chopped green pepper, 1/4 cup jalapeno pepper. I added the other red pepper. And we're going to need 1 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1.5 packs of Sure Gel powder pectin, 5 cups of sugar. So let's see how we do this. So we're going to begin by, already have my jars clean and ready over here. We're going to put our peppers into our pan. Mix the apple cider vinegar and the Sure Gel and bring to a rolling boil while stirring constantly. And then quickly stir in the sugar, and then you're just going to put them in the jars. Okay, while this is coming up to heat, I'm going to get the canner going. So we're going to need to water bath these for 5 minutes. So that won't be bad at all. So it says to put all of this in here. We've got our pepper and our apple cider vinegar and the Sure Gel. So we need to get that in here. We need 1 full pack. We're going to need 1/2 pack. All right. Now we're going to get this stirred together. And you want it to come to a rolling boil even when you're stirring it. So a boil that you can't stir away is what they're looking for. This is a new recipe for me, and the one we're going to do after this is a new recipe for me. So I'm trying to broaden out, a little bit. I'm going to turn it off because it's still so hot that it's still boiling. pretty strong. All right, so the timer's off. So now we're going to start putting this in our jars. My jars are clean. You no longer have to sterilize your jars. All you have to do is make sure that they are clean. I'm going to get this up pretty close. I've had this at parties before, and I liked it. One more jar. Okay. So I have some vinegar, just some white vinegar. And I'm going to go around each jar. I'll set you back just a little bit. Around each jar. And I'm going to put a ring and a brand new lid. The ring does not have to be brand new, but the lid needs to be. And by doing that, I can also feel the edge of my jar and to make sure there's no nicks, which I already checked them anyway, but that just gives me a double check in them. Right. So we're doing a hot pack method. So that means the water in my canner is hot. The contents of my jars are hot. And you're going to get less shock to your jars this way. All right. Now I'm going to get my lid. I'm going to put it on. I'm going to lay this down, but I'm not going to lock it. My regulator is on vent, and as soon as it comes up to the temperature that the canner wants it to, it'll start counting down that 5 minutes. And so when they're done, I will bring you back. I'm going to reset the kitchen and we'll get busy on these watermelon rind pickles. We're about to get going on these watermelon rind pickles. And I wanted to go ahead and get my brine going out of the way. So it is 1 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, and 1 tablespoon of salt. So I wasn't sure which was which, so there we go. Good thing I had them measured. And then, if you want the spicy version, you can add some peppercorns. And it called for a teaspoon of cumin seeds, which I didn't have. I have ground cumin, so I'm going to add some of that. Because I do want this. We're going to make this a little bit on the spicier side. 1 teaspoon. All right. I'm going to get this on the stove. I'm just going to turn that down on low and let it start coming up to temperature. Now, this recipe also calls for a teaspoon of coriander. I didn't have that. It has a ton of different ways to do this, and I'm going by Fantastic Foods. So go over there and check that out. Now, this is a watermelon that was given to me by my mother-in-law, and this one is going to be just perfect, I think. Now, I've never made watermelon rind pickles before, but we had a viewer who wanted us to do this. So we're going to give this a shot, and we're going to see how we like it. So I do want to tell you about him. His name, he goes by Edgar C. He is a DJ. He lives in California, and he has a radio show from 2 to 6 Pacific Standard Time, of course, on Sundays. I will put the link in the show notes so that you can go and you can check him out if you want to. But Edgar, these are for you. I wish you lived closer so I could give you a jar. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we need to get this watermelon cut up. Now, you've seen how I do watermelons. I just cut the end. Woo, that kind of popped. I'm glad that didn't explode. I have seen that happen. All right. Let me pull my garbage can back over here. Ooh, it did, look. Kind of blew up on me there a little bit. That's okay. Now, instead of throwing away the rind, we are going to be keeping some of this rind. So what we're going to do is we're just going to lay those here. Now we're going to cut the green part off also. And I have seen some that had a little bit of the red fleshy part still on the watermelon. That would be fantastic. You could do it that way. You do it the way that you want to. Find a recipe that works for you. Now, I'm making these spicy because my friends across the road, they are the ones who knew Edgar because they're from California. And so they've moved here, and we're so happy to have them here. We love them already. And so I plan on giving them some of these watermelon rind pickles, and they can be the judge if they're any good or not. I've never had them, so I don't know what to expect. I have heard about them all my life because, you know, back in the day, people didn't waste anything. This knife is sharp because Papa sharpened it for me. And I think it's like something like that. So, if you can see that. That may have a little bit too much red on it. That's okay. Cut some of that off. I want a little bit of it to show. Now, I'm sure back in the day, this would have been something that our grandparents, great-grandparents, if you're my age, would have probably done if they could grow watermelons where they lived. That is so good. Watermelons will not keep over time like a squash would, of course. So you would need to eat the watermelon as quickly as you could, and then somebody came up with an inventive way to pickle the rind. And they had to have a lot of fermented pickled foods to make it through the winter because you had to have those fillers. Let me go give my brine over here a stir. I think I want enough to do 6 jars if we can get it. Next thing we need is jalapeno peppers. And y'all, I was in the garden and there are not very many jalapenos out there right now. I had stripped those bushes pretty finely. But I was saying that I don't think there's another jalapeno out there. It's a good thing I don't need any more. And if you hear the canner beeping over here, it is done. Remember, Donna can't hear, so I can't tell if the thing is beeping or not. Maybe it's not. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put a few of these and then a few jalapenos in there. Now, Edgar, he may have been talking about the sweet version of this. And you do those, if you're familiar with pear preserves, you do those quite a bit like you do pear preserves. So I have my brine and it really doesn't look like it's going to be enough, but we will see. That didn't hardly make enough brine, so I'll mix it just a little more. Right. have my vinegar soaked paper towel here. Re-wipe that one. You want a brand new lid, and the ring doesn't matter as long as it's not rusty. Some of mine look tarnished because before I got this canner, I was using a stovetop canner, and I would always put a little vinegar in the canner, and that made it tarnish the rings a little bit. All right, so let's get our jelly out of here, and we will get these in here. Look at that, isn't that pretty? That is gorgeous. Now when these set up and they are sealed, I'll shake them up a little bit to distribute the all of the peppers kind of down in there. Did y'all hear that one seal? Thank you, Lord. Love that. Ooh, they're all sealing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Lord. All right. So we have that. Now we're going to put these in the canner. I'll have to get my tongs though because the water is deep. Ooh, thank you, Lord. Do y'all hear them? Oops. Ooh, I bumped the bottom of that one. Hope I didn't break it. All right, let's get our lid back on the canner. And we're going to do the same as we did with that. Now that's going to come up to temperature, and we're going to let it cut down, and Nana's going to reset the kitchen, and I'll bring you back when everything's ready. All right, everybody, the canner just clicked off, so let's get these jars out of there. Those look pretty. Look how beautiful. Now, this is something that I don't normally do because I generally go by the rule, can what you'll eat and eat what you can. So, but today I wanted to do a little experiment. Who knows? These may be a new family favorite and it may be an entire bust. But either way, if they're all gifts, thank you, Lord, that one just sealed. And if they turn out to be gifts, then how great would that be? I have a feeling we're really going to like them. And I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I hope that you will come back again and see me soon. Remember, Nana loves you. Nana's so, so proud of you. And remember, you always have a friend here.